So like everybody else, I've read Absolute Batman and DC All In, but I haven't read the rest of the Absolute universe, so I asked you guys which story I should read next, and everybody said Wonder Woman. And this was after me asking many times, and it kept on being Wonder Woman. So before I even touch DC Absolute, DC KO and everything, I wanted to read this story. And I've literally just caught up. And man, if I even begin to say how much this story feels slept on compared to Batman and just the other of it, you know what, strap in, because I'm about to get real in depth with this video. But before I do jump into the video, if you guys enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. Y'all show me love and support, and I give back to you in the form of videos. Whether it's Absolute Wonder Woman, other Absolute projects, or just fiction in general, in due time and I'm covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so I'll jump straight into Absolute Wonder Woman. Now, when I was thinking of this video, I was thinking of many different things I could do. As in the beginning, I just wanted to do this as a massive overview and massive read through, but the more I read it, the more I wanted to actually focus on how slept on Wonder Woman feels overall. Now obviously I've only read Absolute Batman, so I can only compare it to Absolute Batman. Obviously I've read regular DC comics, and I know that overall Wonder Woman is slept on anyway, unless you're deep into the community. But for the Absolute side, although she does seem to have the second biggest series, I think compared to Batman, it should be up there, because it's not like it doesn't have the moments. I just think that the designs are probably more Wonder Woman-esque, so you're used to it. And regularly Wonder Woman's comics doesn't really get mentioned that much. But the first thing I do want to bring up is its introduction chapter. Personally, I think the introduction chapter to Absolute Wonder Woman is better than Batman's. Now, and I don't want to make this entire video saying that, oh, it's better than Absolute Batman, this, that. Absolute Batman's a very, very good story. I even think that on its best day, it can bang with this story, but I just prefer this story. If you like Absolute Batman more, then more power to you. It all comes down to preference. But let me just show you something. You see, Wonder Woman's introduction arc starts off with her obviously arriving on Earth, and she has to then battle a Harbinger. She does this, and you then see her meet Steve Trevor after this, and it then goes back and explores everything. But before that, obviously you have her backstory, and her backstory is something that I feel like instantly, even though Batman has a very, very intriguing one, I think that is very, very good. I like what they've done with Absolute Batman's backstory. I feel like Wonder Woman's one was better. And the reason I feel like it's better is because even though they keep going back to it, I feel like Wonder Woman's one feels way more, I don't want to say impactful, but it's kind of like it's lessons that she gets. And these lessons make her grow as a character, because Diana is extremely naive, and obviously Cersei, somebody that she instantly obviously impacts, because she originally didn't want to care for Diana, so immediately you see that growth. But Diana's growth throughout the entire story, you know what, I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself. Let's rewind that a little bit. Let's take it back to just the first introduction arc, the first 5 issues. As I said before, because of Harbinger told to retreat after aura farming in front of it, and through her backstory you then get to see that Cersei wasn't allowed to say Amazon, and so Diana had to then find out when Amazon was, and she uses this to make herself stronger, because that is who she is. For her to remember that she is an Amazon, that powers her up enough to then take down this creature. Now she's able to give to the retreat, but that's a Harbinger, so it's going to come back with something stronger, and that's exactly what happens later. Diana has a few funny interactions, like with the head of the military, and she's like, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, you're doing a bit too much, because you're gonna need me. And just know there are gonna be other superheroes out there that are going to come. You're gonna need me. You have that interaction. You know, Barbara then calling her Wonder Woman. You then also have the whole thing with Steve Trevor talking to her outside with Pegasus and saying, why would you call a Pegasus Pegasus? And then Diana's like, because that is the Pegasus, not any Pegasus. That is the Pegasus you probably read about. That's funny. You then also have her talking to the citizens, and even though Batman's one just happened literally last issue, it does also contrast the two of them. Diana is always going to be soft-spoken, but obviously in this timeline especially, it's way more soft-spoken. And so there's a contrast between the two. Batman's like, I'm effing back, I'm here, Gotham, I don't care if you don't want me. But Diana's like, look, listen, all of you, I just need you to listen to me just this once. Just help me out here and help yourselves out. I love this. And then she goes back to go fight the creature. But on top of that, you then get to see her interact with different characters. Characters we already know inside the Wonder Woman mythos, but because it's the absolute universe, we don't know what could happen to them. But luckily, they're still good people. And then we find out that Gia is a witch, and that Etta is a private investigator. All of this happens, and every single issue is perfect. It feels like it's just hitting a note after note after note after note. And then you have Diana going out there to go and fight the treacherous side, who's obviously laying off a sound that can hypnotize people. But Diana's already thought of a way to deal with the situation. Now she's got to battle it because it's now in the city, and then she starts to fight it, and she makes a massive sword to cut it in half. Then the military tries to come in, and she says scold the military. Then after that, she turns into Medusa to beat it. And her and Steve get such a beautiful moment. And the thing is that I haven't even brought up the little in-between flashbacks where you then have Hercules talking to Cersei, and Hercules has told Cersei that, yo, you're the only person who can really raise Diana properly. And you also then get to see, because remember, every single time you see a flashback, it's so you can see Diana's growth as a person to why she is the person she is today. And she's even still growing today, but most of her development is going to be inside these flashbacks. And you see that she talks to Hecate, and Hecate is like, Cersei will never lead you astray, and Diana agrees with her. And this is all over the new lasso that she made. And Hecate is like, listen, she made that out of the love and blood and everything for you. It's for you, and she's never gonna lead you astray. Hecate for real slid for Cersei, and this is where Diana then has to go ask Cersei for forgiveness, but Cersei already knows she didn't mean it, and this is just a beautiful moment overall. And this is then obviously when she then turns into Medusa, and the aura that she left, it's just crazy. And she's also like, mother, I used the lasso that I hated at first, but now I understand it. Like, come on. Now, obviously, when everything's done, she's defeated the Tetricide, the whole gang meet up, and then she's taken underground, which leads us into issue 6. And issue 6 and 7 basically go over her time in the underworld, her meeting Swan and Hades, and we then find out that Hades has taken her mother. We also find that she climbed Mount Prometheus, and it's not called Prometheus because, well, I don't know, maybe Prometheus can't. No, Prometheus is actually there. We then get a little interaction between Diana, the servant, and Hades, and how the servant tries to grab the lasso, but then shocks the hell out of him. And obviously, then leads up to the end of the chapter to where we then get to see that Pegasus was then reborn to then serve Diana, and obviously Hades had kidnapped Cersei, so now Diana has to fight in a tournament for Cersei. They have Persephone coming in, and in the beginning of the chapter you then think maybe Persephone is being a little bit of a heel. Maybe she's not doing. Maybe she's actually on Hades' side until you then get to the end of the chapter. After Diana has to keep thinking back on the story she was told as a kid, and then we then find out that person was actually been helping her all her life, and that she's then gone Diana a way to get back in to the real world, but she can only be there for 11 months out of the 12 months in the year, which isn't bad, but that's still good. You can have a heartfelt and heartwarming moment with her and Cersei's. We're only 7 issues in, and I'm because I want you guys to read it. Those that have read it are gonna hear this and they're gonna understand why I'm so glad about this story. But those that haven't, I'm only giving you little dribs and drabs because I really need you to go out there. I'm telling you the main points, but you're really gonna need to go out there and read it so you can actually understand what I'm talking about, so you know why I love this story so much. I don't ever gas up stories that aren't good. I don't ever. And when I read Absolute Batman, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Absolute Batman, you know what, I'm gonna be honest. There's only like a few Jonathan Hickman runs and a few other runs from very popular comic book artists that I would ever say, yeah, like there's some of the great, like, no, Absolute Batman's up there, but so is Absolute Wonder Woman. And so it now leads me to think that where's Absolute Superman like? Now with Diana returning back to the main world in issue 8, we then get to see it, the style had also changed from issue 6 and 7. I think the artist then took a break and we got a different, more modern sort of art style, but I will say that I do prefer the original and the ongoing art style because it reminds me of Egyptian paintings, sort of. That makes sense. But when we go back to the regular world, we then see that Diana has a new place, but we then get to see that Veronica Cale is here and they meet up with Dr. Poison and they plan on using the sound that the Tetracide was letting off. Diana's new group comes here and Barbara is being Barbara as she is way too fast to grab stuff that she shouldn't be grabbing. But yeah, Diana even flexes that she bought the whole place and it's worth a few million, by the way. That's just a casual flex and that was super funny to me. And so she was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna need you guys to leave. Barbara's like, oh, but what happened? Like, no. Steve's like, listen, you gotta go, big head, like, move. And Diana then summons an entire place. And it, like, I'm sorry, I'm just in awe at this comic. Now, obviously, then you have the whole Tetracide problem, going to the city. Diana tells him to stay there and Etta says, why is she leaving us here when she isn't even safe here? And it's like, Etta, the reason she says that is because she's the hero, she has to go out and fight. But yeah, the Tetracide little spiders are running around and Diana's like, okay, they gotta come to me. But then she didn't actually realize how many they were, so she was like, you know what, I'm gonna find the source of it. And that's where she then finds Dr. Poison and Diana threatens Dr. Poison, and Poison tells her that people have been captured and there could be an Amazonian somewhere, and Diana's like, I'm obviously going to go. Steve then warned her that it could be a trap, but Diana was like, I don't care. And they also have a conversation about the Man-Eater, and I think that's going to come back into like some sort of relevance later. We get a little flashback here and we see that Diana's preparing to see Artemis, and yeah, we go back to the main story and we see a bullman fighting menfish, or fishmen as most people call them. And Diana thought that the fishmen were actually in the good until she puts the lasso around the bullman and the bullman is actually innocent, and so Diana starts to help him and we then find out that his name is Ferdinand. Diana then asks about the Amazonian person and Ferdinand's like, it's probably Clea, but it's not actually Clea, and Clea is actually hunting down Petra, the little girl that Ferdinand has been protecting. Then we went to issue 10 and they fight. Ferdinand protects them, and Diana is forced to run, and then puts Petra with her gang before going back in to obviously go get Ferdinand and save everybody else that could be in there. Now we then get a flashback to see Diana versus a Panther, and like right now I'm listening to the whole story, and I don't feel like I should be, but man, this story is so good. It's so good. And I just want to say the paneling here is cool as hell, because after going back in, Diana's then caught by Clea, and Clea tosses her and the scientist into the pit to fight a monster, but the monster isn't really a thing because they get taken in, and that is where Diana then meets another Amazonian. Issue 11 and 12 is about Diana then obviously talking to Io, fighting Clea, getting the Trident of Poseidon, freeing Ferdinand, and after obviously everything's going on, we then find out that Clea is Atlantean, as we probably guessed by now, which means that Aquaman could be soon, because it seems like nobody knows what happened to Atlantis, which could really be cool. But as everybody leaves, Io is struck, but it ends up somewhere, and then meets with Diana's mother, Hippolyta. And we also do get a flashback and more scenes with Artemis and Diana uses her bargaining with the Hydra, somebody who obviously tried to take Steve earlier on. And yeah, like, if you guys really want me to, I can cover it, but let me tell you, they even showed us that yo, you guys you guys don't want to know how much I love Zatanna, and I can't, and I know they're gonna get Zatanna down properly. I just love Absolute Wonder Woman. I've sat here and explained Absolute, and as I said, I don't want this video to be complete about Batman this, Batman that, but I really do think like what's getting me is the flashbacks. I think Batman's got more flashy things because obviously it's kind of crazy that he's going up against and whatnot, but I truly do feel like that Absolute Wonder Woman does take the game, and I feel like she does deserve to get more praise and get more screen time, which is why I'm doing this video now. If you guys want me to do more Absolute stuff, then you know what to do. Tell me, comments, whatnot, and I'll do it. But yeah, I have nothing but praise. And you guys should definitely read this. Anyway, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy this video, as I really did enjoy making it. Yeah, I feel like it'll be easier for me to do chapter reviews, or like if you guys want me to talk on the topic of Absolute Wonder Woman, I don't mind it. But this was just a video for me to just show my appreciation for the series, because this series genuinely is slept on in my eye. I know the hardcore fan base does read it, but I feel like people outside of it need to, because even I can say I didn't read it until just literally today. I binge read this, bro. I'm saying, but yeah, man, I love you all, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.